Hello, everybody. Welcome to my weekly Meltdown's coverage of the challenge, Double Agents. We are here, as always, to talk about the challenge, even when there's no daily, even when the format is all messed up. We still have to come and talk about everything that's going on with the challenge. So,
all three things that happened in this episode.
Yeah. As always, with me is Beth. How are you doing, Beth?
Doing well. I am at my parents' house. I swear I'm not. I have not been kidnapped. I've not been kidnapped and put in some weird basement. Yes, these are the bags underneath my eyes. But welcome on in.
I love it. I love it. If you hear any barking, my puppy is crate training right now. So she's undergoing the same challenge that all of them are doing over at the end of the episode here. So if you hear any barking, that's why. But we have with us our special guest, fellow patron, Andrew from The Hustler. How are you doing, Andrew?
I just want you to know she lied. She's in my basement. I kidnapped her, and I threatened her life if she would have revealed that.
That's fair enough. She's so cute. Pretty kidnappable.
No, he definitely didn't kidnap me.
No. She's like, please, somebody.
But no, I'm doing great.
Yeah. Also, we have some people that are asking about Allison. She had surgery yesterday or today. So she's loopy on some pain meds. I'm very jealous of that. But we wish her all the best for recovering purposes. She'll probably be back with us tomorrow to cover Big Brother Canada 9. So we'll send her all of our love for tonight and try to have some fun talking about
all I'm saying is her on pain meds would be more reason to have her on the show.
I mean, come on.
But is she her like it was like something with her throat. I forget what exact. I'm so bad with like remembering medical stuff. So
yeah,
it's something
with her neck, and so this area just in general is really sore right now. And talking was painful. She recorded a message, and she definitely sounded like death.
Yeah. So we were like, girl,
she literally was like, I made it through. And we were like, did you know? Because
she's also in my basement.
Everybody's like, Allison on pain meds.
Send help.
Yeah. But yeah, so we love you, Allison. We can't wait to have you back tomorrow, but please rest up and rest assured we are in good hands here talking about her favorite show, The Challenge. So Andrew, it's been a little bit since like you've been on talking about The Challenge with us. So what are your thoughts on the season so far?
I don't like the format overall. I don't like the continuously changing partners, which I mean, last time we talked, Tyler, you liked that aspect of it. I not crazy about the cast this season, if I'm being honest. I think that's proven tonight with Big T. Like, why is Big T on this show? I'm not a fan. Kyle, I'm just not a Kyle fan. I'm not crazy about the cast. I mean, it's okay. It's good TV still. It's the best reality TV show this year so far.
A high bar.
But I mean, it's an okay subpar season. It would not be a top probably 10 for me.
Right.
But it's interesting. I mean, tonight I love because I love me some CT. I hated the twist tonight. I don't like that. I don't know if we're ready to talk about that yet, but when we do, I'll tell you why I hated the twist so much. And I love CT, but I hated the twist.
Yeah, so let's jump right into it then. Let's talk about the twist that was the cliffhanger of last week's show. So spoiler alert, it's 2 eliminations in 1. So the next highest vote getter is also now a compromised agent, so they have to go in as well. So that ended up being Josh. And CT gets to pick both matchups, which I think is a little too much
Way too much power. Way too much.
That's too OP.
Yeah. So he gets like, not only does he get his pick of the litter in terms of like, who do I want to steal a skull from out of Devin or Josh, which like either one to me is probably an easy one, right? Especially if you're CT. But he gets to pick who else. And so he just throws it to Devin. He says, hey, Devin, what do you want? And Devin's like, I want Darrell. And I gotta say, like, good for you, Devin, for like trying to go for the big gun. But I see, Andrew, you're shaking your head.
It would have been better going for Kyle.
Yeah, I mean, like, is Kyle like really all that good of a competitor?
I would have gone Leroy.
Leroy?
I don't think Leroy's that great.
Yeah, I mean he's okay. Like I think he's definitely suited for like a hall brawl type of elimination, but I think something like this he easily could have
But I also don't agree with CT throwing the power to Devin, right? Like you put up Leroy, you take out one of the power couples, you give that opportunity for that to happen. And that scene even more when he's like upsetting Big T to advance his game, but yet he let Devin make a decision instead of him making that ultimate decision.
Right.
So I don't agree with the whole twist. To me was oh crap, too many girls quit, we got to do something, and this is what we do. It seemed thrown together. It seemed sloppy. It was too OP. I agree with Beth completely. I feel like there were better ways to go about that, and you gave too much power to CT.
Yeah, I think that if CT could choose one, his own, that makes sense. And then it would have been interesting to just do like, I don't know, like a vote for like right on the spot in person, go down the line. Who do you vote to go against Devin situation?
What I thought should have happened was the first question should have been CT, who do you want?
Mm-hmm.
If you want to go down. And then if he chose somebody not on the floor, those two go against each other. If he picks someone on the floor, then you go to the third vote getter.
Yeah,
I like that. Yeah, that seems a little more balanced, and I also do think that. Like, so of course, like with the very first competition of the season, a lot of people online have speculated that they switched it to women's because CT was going to go in that first round, and production didn't want to lose CT right away. So I feel like once they saw that like CT was like the driving force here, like the winner of this round, and was therefore deciding all this stuff, I think for them it's the perfect time to pull the trigger, make sure that he gets his skull, even out the playing field in terms of men and women. But like there's just like so many quits, so many DQs, like it's
to
crazy.
be honest too,
we end with one.
There's a part of me that does think, okay, this was definitely planned. Last week was definitely the week that they planned to let Lolo go. So obviously we've heard multiple different sources since last week, including Lolo herself, say, no, production told me it was time to leave. I do believe that there was a mental health component to it. I do believe they were like, girl, get out of here because you can't handle it. But I also think they waited until like, oh, this is a perfect opportunity to hand CT to get his skull, like when we're down that many numbers.
Yeah.
I do think that there's like Lolo have been losing it for a couple weeks now. Like,
right.
You could have easily just gone earlier.
Right, right. But of course, like the big fallout that comes from this, right? Of course, CT wins. Of course, Darrell wins. Honestly, I think that's a huge loss for like entertainment wise, like what's going to happen left on this show to lose like Devin and Josh like in one foul swoop here. I kind of wonder like what the TV entertainment is going to be like from here on out for the rest of the season.
Fair. That was poetic that the both of them went out the same week, like the same time.
And TJ, like, y'all have a long flight home to talk about it. I was like, yes, TJ.
And he was like, I'd rather die. I have to go like 3 octaves lower to have like a Josh voice. But yeah,
or
so
just
I
a
mean,
pot and pan.
Yeah, and of course, Darrell in confessional, he calls it a tangerine instead of a tangram, which I thought was funny. I have in my notes, I love watching Josh fail. Yes, I mean, like, is Josh? He says at the end, he's like, "I'm gonna come back, and I swear I'm gonna win one of these challenges." Like,
why? I don't want you to.
I don't think that's ever going to happen, Josh.
The only reason I ever want that to happen is if Paul does a challenge and it's Josh and Paul final 2, then I want Josh to win and get Paul third.
Main ways to make sure Beth never turns in ever. That is like you have Josh and Paul on a season. No.
Yeah.
And Polly, no.
Like, I want Paul to do it in the same shirt that he got second place in. 2 times in Big Brother.
2 times in a row. Jesus.
I love it.
Tyler, I have a format question for you.
Sure.
So this, what do they call it when somebody's left without a partner?
Rogue agent.
Rogue agent. Do you think this is a afterthought or a strategy point? And here's my thought process on that. Now that we're getting down to the end where gold skulls are important, and rogue agents can't compete. You had 2 people as rogue agents tonight that didn't have gold skulls and were not eligible and a chance to get 2 gold skulls to go down. Is that just a afterthought of production of that not being played in, or is this a strategy component of the game where I can make someone a rogue agent to stop them from getting Gold Skull to ultimately stop them from getting to the final?
I mean, if you're like constantly like not having opportunities to go in and get your skull, it's one thing to like compete in a daily challenge and lose that opportunity to win and put yourself in. But if you're a rogue agent, you can't compete for that round. And I feel like that's a little unbalanced. I feel like that's a little unfair that like Corey, I feel like especially has been on the sideline like most of this season.
Well, even look at what's happening right now. Big T can't compete.
And we're down to the
way
wire
for her to get a skull right now. Like there's no way. And that is ridiculous unless she somehow gets in with whoever wins the power to say, throw me in against.
Yeah.
So I think I would have a better okay with this twist if the Gold Skull twist wasn't active. I just don't think the two twists work well together. And I think that's my ultimate issue.
I totally agree, Andrew. Like, I think these are really interesting twists, and I still will say that like the twist, like the format is really interesting. It could be really good. But first of all, I think it's going over a lot of these challenge competitors' heads in terms of like what to do with this strategy, especially now that Devin's going to be gone, right? And second of all, like you're right. Like they're just not like, it's like two like really good ingredients for like two very good dishes that just like don't go well together in the same pot. So I think that they kind of need to split that up.
And don't get me wrong, the skull twist is probably one of my favorite challenge twists of all time. Like I love that you have to go down and it makes people not so scared. I love that. It just doesn't work with this one, in my opinion.
You know what I wish was the case? I wish that instead of TJ saying this is a men's elimination or a women's elimination, I wish the house voted on which elimination it was. Because it would actually be a really good way to go around the rogue agent portion. And then if you were allowed as rogue agents to vote them out and you're like, it's a women's elimination and Big T, boom, I'm voting women's elimination, I'm voting Big T.
Right.
And that could open up a lot more strategy while playing really well with the Gold Skull twist. But the way it stands now, it's not fully realized. And there's holes. Yes, there is strategic things that you can do, but it's only strategic for like a few weeks. This is one of them. It doesn't really matter when there's 36 competitors. It matters when there's like only a couple skulls left. And
that's the thing, Beth, is like I feel like so many people have gone home under like really odd circumstances of like medical DQs, like finding out you're pregnant, mental health issues, like Lolo needing to go train. Just being Lolo. Like that's something that they can't really plan around. But like I've said it all along this season, I think the cast is too big. I think that they really just need to kind of trim the fat and really have just like an all-star knockout of like 16 players instead of like 5 million.
Like Legends looks like it might be.
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, that's a very good point. But of course, like, so CT wins, and like the big point of this episode is how he acts to Big T. And Andrew, I'll let you take the floor because I think that you're the most opinionated on this issue.
I love it. I love CT, and I'm always going to love somebody that puts gameplay first, right? Like, you don't want to run that final with Big T 100%. But not only that, I think it's important if you have a gold skull to, and I'm going to look at this two ways, to partner with someone that has a gold skull. Because what in the aspect of, I've built this relationship with Big T, she doesn't get this gold soul, now I've got to mesh with somebody else completely. All of that to say, I don't think the partners going into the final are the partners that run the final together. We've seen final swaps and things happen and different things, and it could be one of those things where you run leg 1 with this person, leg 2 with this person, leg 3 with this person. So I don't think that's the case, but I don't think that CT's strategy was bad. Did the way he go about it probably the best?
No.
Yeah.
So I agree and I disagree because I feel like for a majority of it, yes, it was putting down Big T, but I don't think that was CT's focus. CT's focus was redemption for what he did to Cam in the beginning and coming back to that. He didn't think about what it did to Big T at the same time. So I don't like, I think it was the right move with the right intentions, but bad execution.
Exactly.
This is again, like, even though I don't like to think of it that way, it is the social I hate the word strategy with this game because for me, I'm just feel like I'm watching a whole bunch of meatheads pretend like they know what strategy is playing a game. But it is a social strategy game after all. So it is important to have an understanding of how your words and actions are going, and your tone and how you're celebrating all those things are going to have impacts on people and how they perceive you. I'm going to be very shocked if anybody wants to work with CT at all. Like, I don't even see Cam really. I know she's his partner now, but I don't even see her wanting to work that hard to save him.
Yeah.
If it comes an opportunity to try to do something, she can throw it to Leroy and Casey. She's going to do that. If she can throw it to somebody else, like Anissa, I could see her doing that too. So like the way he went about celebrating just put a bad taste in everyone's mouth, because there's not a single person that doesn't like Big T. They know that she's not as strong, and she's a rookie, so it's hard to run the final. So yes, I agree. Strategically, he made the right move, but he went about it in such a way that he just like nailed in his coffin even so much more when it comes from a strategy sense.
But he never said anything negative about Big T in this. It was more negative towards himself of, I should have taken her day one. I should have done this. I don't think it was...
Yeah, but you can't sit there and say that, like, if you're sitting there, like, so he and Big T have worked so much in this season together. She helped calm him down when he needed to, like, not be as
won him that challenge last week.
And she's the one that won the challenge last week for them. Like, I mean, he brought out a lot of great competitor, like, in her, like, helped her realize, like, her potential and those kind of things. They were really a good balanced team. However, if you're going off and be like, oh my God, absolutely, I'm taking a Cam, no problem, I messed up, this is my problem. Like, you can't help, if you've had some kind of emotional connection in trying to help each other get there, feel like this is a slap across the face for me, because he didn't go like, Big T, you and I have been rocking this, but I need to make a smarter move. And then he could have gone,
that's more offensive to me. He never puts Big T down, but if you do that and you turn to me and say, hey, you can't do this final with me, you're not going to help me win it, to me, that hurts more than just ignoring me completely and saying, Cam, I'm making it right with you.
No, but he did talk to her. He literally went, I'm sorry, Big T. And then he just continued on in his rant. And it's just like, what an afterthought. And that belittles somebody who's like, how dare you not even like, I'm an afterthought to you now? Like, what the hell?
So, in my opinion, it's one thing if, like, it's just Big T that's, like, taking this personally, getting upset, but, like, the whole house had the same reaction she did. And understandably so. I mean, Cam, his new partner, says, don't put me in your drama. She says in confessional, like, I don't want to be with anybody who's not humble, right? Like, that is the... reputation he's like given himself now. And like, I love how like Big T, she really didn't give CT any wiggle room to like, she said exactly what you said, Andrew. She said like, I understand the decision, but like, you don't talk to a friend that way. And like, you are my emotional support this game. Friends just don't talk to each other like that. And she says like, I'm realizing I'm no longer a part of this conversation even. I'm just a part of CT's monologue. I think all of those points are true and valid. But I agree, Andrew, that like, this is a good game move for him. Like, I would pick Cam out of everybody there.
Oh,
Are you kidding me?
100%.
She's like such a badass, but you can do it in a way that doesn't leave like a sour taste in everybody's mouth. And
so prolific T in the chat wants to know, yes, there was an episode tonight. It ended about almost a half an hour ago.
Yes. Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see how it goes, but like, I understand why she's upset. And like, especially now that like her new partner, Nam, got disqualified this episode too, man, like Big T went from like
is bullshit about the rogue agent not being able to participate in the challenge, because it's not like they got voted out. It's not like there was nothing that Big T did wrong, but yeah, she's going to be punished, and there's going to be no way for her to get that final skull.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous. That is a flaw in production.
I think the better strategy is let the rogue agent play in the comp, and if they win the comp, they get to pick their partner right then and there. Before the elimination.
What if like, so for the last skull for the men and women, everybody who doesn't have a skull competes in like one challenge together?
I'm totally good for that.
And then you give a fifth.
That's an easy way.
But then there's a fifth skull.
I have like a sixth skull for like just to give, so like everybody can say like I had an opportunity to win and I didn't.
Are you saying five for the men, 5 for the women, and then an extra skull that could be for anybody?
I think so. Like,
Doesn't
or
love it
no,
so.
one for each. At this point, when there's been like so many like DQs and stuff that like production just didn't plan for, I think that would be a way to, because like, why would he want to stay, right? Like, he has like this back shit, but like, he's not going to be put in anytime either. They saw what happened with Lolo, like, and that was Lolo's fault, but like, in like Corey's case, in Big T's case here, like, it's hard to say like you went wrong here,
So
Can I ask a question here? Because the more I'm thinking about this tonight, what is the point to the partners? They don't even compete as partners except for in just the challenge. Is it just because, we got 36 people and we can't have 36 people competing individually? Because that's a production issue.
Yeah,
why are the partners? Like, there's no reason. Yeah, you put 2 people in the final or to be eliminated and you compete with them and whatever, but like, it only ends up being one person versus another person of a gender. Like you don't compete in an elimination against that person. That would be so much more compelling.
So like not have partners, but you can only compete for a skull against somebody of the same gender.
Yeah. Like, why are there even partners to begin with?
What do you think?
That makes no sense. I'm sorry. I'm just putting it out there.
I don't disagree. I don't like the twist. But Tyler, I'm going to take your twist one step further.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know that I like that completely because of the fact of it does take out the strategy of a little bit of keeping somebody out of a skull competition.
What that's what I like was saying in the chat too, and I understand that point.
What I like is the people that have their gold skulls can choose to be challenged for their gold skull, and if they win, they get an advantage in the final.
Man, I feel like this. We're just trying to like put band-aids over problems here.
No,
like
I know.
it's. I love the twist idea, but it's just too like messy.
I do have a question for Beth, and I'm going to go back a little bit to what we talked about earlier, and a little bit more of last episode than this one. But I wasn't here last week. Beth, is Lolo's reality TV career over?
I hope so.
No, but genuinely, do we think it is?
Here's the thing. We actually spent a lot of time discussing mental health and how productions like this like actually thrive off of exploiting people's mental health because they can use that as either a point that's like, take care of yourselves, exhibit A, or they could be like, isn't this great TV? And I feel like we've now seen Lolo a few different times come on and just show that she is not mentally capable of handling these shows.
I agree.
And it's not a secret to anybody, but I would not be shocked if there's a production that has, let's say, lower ethical standards. They'd be like, oh my God, Lolo is perfect and we should be exploiting this. Like
Real Housewives of Olympic athletes.
Oh my God. Well, just forget the housewives portion. Cause I don't know, she's going to be a housewife, but she would absolutely be running the household if she were ever in a relationship, literally running. I feel like I feel like there will be some kind of predatory reality show that will take over a Lolo Jones kind of story.
Do you think Lolo would go back?
I think she would, because she was clearly upset that she was asked to leave based on her tweets and how she was portrayed. And I feel like every time that we've seen her leave, she's had this, she never explicitly says it was the edit, but you could see the undertones of like, I can't wait to show people like who I really am. And I'm like, you know how you could do that? By running in the Olympics. Like, you can see that and be like really proud of you and all that fun stuff. But
and Lolo is like really shit talked like production of MTV on Twitter after her departure, regardless if it was a quit or exit, like any of that, that's all hearsay. But like, she's like really talking bad about production. So I would assume she's not going to be asked back. Yeah,
I don't think that she'll be back, but I basically am saying is like, yes, I believe her reality show career is over, but I wouldn't be shocked if there's some reality show that comes out of the woodwork that's like, oh my God, let's take controversial people who have been,
low hanging fruit
house and try to do something with them. Like
Shot of Love with Lolo Jones.
No, seriously, like a shot put of love. I know she's not a shot put.
Stop. I love like the early 2000s, like Flavor of Love, Rock of Love, all of that garbage. Like that's some of my favorite reality TV. So I would love to see
what I'm thinking. Although there is a part of me that realizes like, okay, but MTV and VH1 are both Viacom, which means they probably wouldn't go for that. So I would say it's probably a safe bet to say yes, her career's over.
Yeah.
Do you
who
have
wants to
thoughts on
ride
that,
the
Andrew?
do what?
Do you have thoughts on it?
I don't think she's done because she's a fame whore.
I think from her perspective, she would love to go back. I just don't know if anybody would hire her unless they have like I said, lower ethical standards.
I wonder.
Celebrity Big Brother All Stars.
Australian Survivor did champs versus contenders for like 2 seasons, and they had some Olympic athletes. An Olympic athlete won one of the seasons. I feel like maybe that would be a good spot for her if she, but like imagining Lolo on Survivor, like that's also a big question mark to me.
I didn't know Russell Hantz was an Olympic athlete.
Yeah, he was on the Champions Tribe. He was first boot, but you know, one of the best players of all time. But what?
Oh my God, I'm just imagining Lolo at Tribal Council, hungry, and have.
I could see her like really hunched over, like leaning into herself.
And she's like, she's clearly upset and fuming, but nobody's called on her yet. And then Jeff just goes, and Lolo, and she just goes, "What, Jeff?" And then she's like freaks out, and then like Jeff is like, "No, just keep going, keep going."
Here's what would be perfect for Lolo: a one night reality show, like a Fear Factor.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
Like something where it's not a long period of time. There's not as much stress, like a Fear Factor or an American Ninja Warrior type thing, or some kind of one night. I would
love to see her do an American Ninja Warrior. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
I kind of don't consider that reality though. Like to me, that's like just like a showcase for competition. That's just a competition show rather than a
game show,
reality show. Yeah, it's a game show.
Yeah. I want to point out this comment from Caitlin Weaver. She says, "Can I just say that Nani, Casey, and Amber Morning Josh is crazy similar to how Lydia, Natalie, and Shima mourn Jesse from Big Brother 11. I think that's a hilarious comparison.
I love.
Go ahead.
What was Kyle's comment? Nani, I'm home, or
Nani, I'm home.
I love
God. Wait, can we? I want to talk about Nani for a second. I don't understand where and maybe Andrew, you can explain this a little bit more than I can, but I don't understand why Nani is such a big cheerleader for Josh. Like you would think he's like the best competitor ever, like the best partner ever. Like she really loves Josh, and I don't understand why she puts him on such a pedestal in this game.
Because Nani is a whore of whoever gives Nani attention.
That's fair.
Oh, so if anybody gives her attention, she's like, "Yes, you're amazing."
Because Nani's had her ups and downs, and Nani's had that. And I've seen her hate somebody one season, but then the next season they come and talk to her and they're best buds again, right? And she doesn't have her Jenna, Kayla, Threes, Angels this season. Yeah. So, and I think Nani's attention of Big Brother. Josh was her into Big Brother.
That's true. That is true. So she probably sees him as the end to that big alliance, kind of how Darrell is kind of linked in with the Big Brother crowd now too. Adrian says, "Do you guys?" Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Beth.
No, I was just gonna say I don't obviously. This is my first season of watching the challenge. I really don't know Nani besides what I've seen. What does she bring? She doesn't bring entertainment.
She brings hookups. She brings a lot of messy drunk drama. She's never really known for her competition prowess, right, Andrew? She's never won one. She's been on 10 seasons and she's never won one. So
I'm just curious because I'm watching and I'm like, a wet blanket of a person this season.
I know, and I'm always rooting for her in a bless her heart kind of way. If that makes any sense. But
she's also known for her crazy family members.
Oh
yeah, that's true. Yeah, they brought family members on one season.
She had a sister play with her one season who was worse than Nani.
Yeah. Caitlin said, "I heard she's taking a break after this season." I also heard Leroy just randomly say in the episode that this is his last season. Has he said that before, Andrew? Because I don't. This is the first time I remember hearing it. Because he's done a lot of challenges as well.
Him and Cam will break up and he'll be back.
Okay. Yeah. I could see it.
I don't know. They were already talking about their potential wedding.
So was Tori and Jordan.
And,
so was.
I mean, there's no more romantic place to do that than in the hot springs in Iceland, when 20 other people are making fun of you around that are people you have to compete and sleep around and everything.
I'm such a photographer. I was this camera work for this steam pool thing. is really bad. Like all of it's like foggy. You can't see like anything, right? I don't know.
Comment of the night though was when Leroy goes, "CT, she's still my girlfriend."
Yeah. But yeah, I hope Leroy can do far worse than Cam. Cam is, in my opinion, just a really amazing person inside and out. So at least from what I've seen this season, this is my first experience with Cam. So I mean, Adrian says, do you guys think Big T might have a chance to get a skull or make it to the final?
I don't
think so.
What's weird about the challenge, from what I've noticed, is like you can't really base things off of confessionals of what their edit is going to be like, because I really don't see a way for Big T to be going far, but she's been a major narrator this season. And someone earlier in the chat said that Gabby has been too. And I feel like Gabby's just such a non-entity in the story arc of the season, but yet they keep like going to, I can't tell if it's just because they're like, don't you love their British accents? Let's have them narrate stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like sometimes I'm just sitting there and I'm like, oh yeah, it is nicer to hear what's happening in the house, I guess, through, an Essex accent.
The only relevance of Gabby was the Fessy showmance.
Yeah.
Which I couldn't care less about. So like, this is so just not my show. I'm going to be 100% honest. Like I'm watching the show and I'm happy to like cover it and everything, but I'm just sitting here and I'm like, okay.
It's the challenges made or broken by the format, and there have been some amazing challenge formats. I mean, amazing challenge formats. This is just not one of them. Dirty 30, incredible. World's good, great. Go Fresh Meat, the Duel, Inferno, great formats. But it's made or broken by the format, and I think this format was. Okay, we got the clear to film from COVID. Let's throw something together.
Yeah, and that's fair. And I also think that like a lot of the good cast members left really early. So like we're stuck with like a lot of duds, unfortunately. And like, I mean, like even like Darrell and Anissa, right, who are like staples of the show, not really like
they're not relevant apparently.
Casey, like and Leroy, like we have a whole segment of them being like, yeah, we're a great team. Yeah, we're a great team.
This is exactly my point, right? You have a 90-minute friggin' show.
Right.
And we have to spend 5 minutes being like, we never talk to each other and we're partners and now we talk.
Well, Casey, you never talk to anybody. So like
But like that's my point. So like, okay, this is we complain about casting for like Big Brother and such like in a very different way. I'm going to complain about casting here. Just because somebody has won Big Brother or been on Big Brother does not mean they are good TV. And if you were going to be MTV and put together a competition reality show that's based more off of drama rather than social strategy, which yes, that is, let's be 100% honest. This show was more about social strategy being taking a backseat to like what they're trying to set up for a drama, right?
Yeah.
And if you can't bring the drama because you've put furniture in this game, furniture that was in the Big Brother house that happened to win $500,000, and now furniture is like trying to compete. Like, I don't understand that. Like, at least choose people who have fire and passion. And you hit the nail on the head with people like Davon. I can only imagine Davon in good television on the challenge, right?
Polly, I hate
Polly Calafiore, but guess what? Good fucking entertainment if you want drama.
Yeah, totally.
It is horrible. Like, why? Like, I will even say this. Out of all of them, I would rather watch Josh on this. I hate Josh, but
that's what I'm saying. Is like I don't think that like they realize like how much of a hit this is to like the television show that we're watching here. Like, because I love the challenge, but to me this season kind of tastes like a stale cracker at this point. So I don't know, but like we are starting to get some rumors about the season 37 cast, and two names that stuck out to me were Michelle Fitzgerald and Wendell Holland from Survivor. So, and Natalie Anderson is going to be back, which I'm glad to see her do a proper challenge and hopefully not have to leave early. But
Jimmy.
I want to reference Matt Henning's comment. He said Casey's there for the physical aspect, like big challenge producers, if you cannot find physically fit women who also have a personality, you are not looking hard enough.
Right.
Like, period. There were plenty of women. Why are you just sitting there being like, well, we only can look at like a few people and all that. Like that's ridiculous. That is ridiculous. And oh, we love having someone who is a person of color and also like a lesbian. Okay, there's like 50 billion people out there.
Well, not only that, but they're a last minute addition because they tested positive for COVID and weren't able to do Big Brother All Stars.
But I do want to say, as far as casting, the challenge has always been very, very good about diversification as far as
that's
inclusivity. True. I mean, their casting on that has probably had the most representation of any reality show that I've seen. I also have said that, and I've said this in the past, I think that them doing what they did of bringing Big Brother and Survivor people into the challenge was the worst decision they've ever made. I've always said, do Survivor in the spring, all newbies always, Big Brother in the summer, all newbies always, and in the winter we should have Big Brother and Survivor in a challenge-esque game. There are enough hungry people to be able to do that, and you see that crossover begin to happen. But I think the challenge was just getting stale, and they wanted to keep some of those people relevant, and then they wanted to do the merger. I also want to go to Legends. I read today Legends is going to be a Paramount Plus exclusive.
Yes.
It's not going to be on broadcast television.
No, but we will definitely be covering that. And if I'm sure that Allison, I want to cover it too, but I want to cover the real world reunion that they're doing. I think that'll be really great. Side note, for anybody that hasn't seen, so what's his name from E is doing like a 4-part series on like the history of reality television. Andy Cohen, I think is his name. I watched the first episode last night. It's on E. I think.
No, Cohen's on Bravo.
Yeah,
Cohen's on Bravo.
Yeah, Andy Cohen's on Bravo.
Okay. Well, but that's who it is hosting it, right? I think. Okay. But yeah, it was so good, you guys. They went into like the history of like how groundbreaking the real world was, but also like Survivor with like Richard Hatch, and they had Julie Chen like in an interview talking about like the first season of Big Brother and like all the changes they made to that show. It was really interesting, and I can't wait to see like the next 3 parts of it because I would love to do like a recap of their history of reality TV once like the 4 episodes are done, because if anybody is interested in what we talked about on this show last week, especially on this challenge recap, go watch that documentary. It's very, very well done. But yeah, that's just a little side. I mean, that's I hate to like cut it short, but like that's pretty much it in terms of like the challenge stuff to talk about. So Adrian said, do you guys think after Josh and Lola left, do you think this season might get better? I think the narrative for this season has to be CT versus Darrell at this point, right?
Yeah.
I think it's ultimately going to be CT versus the Cam and Leroy alliance.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair too.
But this goes back to what we talked about last time I was on, Tyler. If I'm Cam and Leroy, I'm not running the final together.
Yeah, and I think at this point, you know, they have both of their gold skulls, so like split up, get that cash prize, baby.
Get a 50%. If there's 4 people running it, a 50% chance of winning instead of you both being together and you both losing. You have, so I would be splitting that completely and paying for a wedding.
Totally. Adrian says, who do you guys think might win this season? I mean, production really loves CT this season, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's the winner. And just the way they all talk about him in confessional, like, he put that puzzle together so fast. He put the tangerine together so fast. I mean, it's the writing's on the wall in terms of the edit.
My prediction, and again, I don't think partners are going to play into the final like we think they are. So I'm not taking that into consideration as current pairs. But CT is my boy prediction. I think that part of his agreement was Bananas finally isn't coming back. We're going to give you a shot to win this thing. And I'm going to make a ballsy call. Amber.
Okay. There you have it. I'm kind of rooting for Cam. I'm rooting for Cam, but you know, I wouldn't be upset at an Amber win just because of like all the bullshit she had to go through in Big Brother 16, which they never apologized for, but it's so terrible in hindsight. But that's Big Brother for you.
I think if I were to choose, I think it's hard because I don't know the challenge, so I don't know what the editing kind of sets it up for or not. Like, but if we were going for how the editing is setting up right now, I think CT is the clear guy favorite. And then for the girls, It's either an underdog story where like a Gabby Big T come out of friggin' nowhere and you're like, what?
I would love for Big T to pull out the win.
Wouldn't that be amazing? What if Big T somehow gets a skull and then runs all the way to the final and like is able to be like a fuck you to
it's what we deserve as the viewers at this point.
That would be amazing. No, but I feel like it's got to be Casey or Cam for the women because of their what?
I know the winner. Nicole Franzel.
Speaking of, Janelle did a Q&A on Instagram, and somebody asked her,
set that up perfectly. Sorry.
They asked Janelle what they think about Nicole's pregnancy. She was like, I mean, I hope she has a healthy pregnancy, but I don't think it's something you need to post about every day. People get pregnant all the time. And I was like, yes.
Queen.
She's not wrong. But I think that kind of wraps it up for us. But we will be back. And sorry for like being a little like poo-poo about the show tonight. Like Allison really loves the challenge. We thrive off of her energy, so her energy is missed. We love you, Allison. Hope you are recovering well and feeling really good right now. But tomorrow,
sure.
Before the challenge came on, they did the season premiere of Big Brother Canada. So tomorrow night, we're going to be back to recap the first week of Big Brother Canada 9. The premiere was really, really good. A lot better than this episode of the challenge tonight. So I can't wait to talk about all of that stuff.
I need that link.
Oh yeah, I'll hook you up. Yeah, don't worry. But it was really good. It was everything a premiere should be. I will send you the link. But so we will be back tomorrow. I think 7 or no. I think it's whenever the episode ends. I need to check when that is because it was a surprise to me that it was on at 7 p.m. today. That's kind of early. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Even Rory says this is a weird as fuck episode. Yeah. Okay. Well, everybody. Take care. We'll see you tomorrow.
Well, before we get going, consider becoming a patron of My Weekly.
Sorry, I'm all over the place tonight.
Well, it's okay. We want to be able to promote ourselves here. You know, Andrew is a wonderful supporter, a longtime supporter of the show, and has also literally put his money where his mouth has, become a patron to support us. And if you would like to support the show, if you like what you're seeing here, consider supporting us at $5, $10, or $15 level a month. Each of them have their own benefits and wonderful little things that you can do to interact with our show. Also, be sure to subscribe, like, and if you would like to help us boost our downloads on Apple, we would love for you to give us a rating on Apple Podcasts.
Yes. Andrew, first, thank you for reminding me, Beth. So we actually did a draft and we included all of our tier 3 patrons. So Andrew, since you weren't able to join us, what do you think about your team that you were assigned?
I'll let you know after the premiere.
Okay. All right.
But I'm digging the mullet guy. I'm digging it.
No, honestly, Kiefer, I feel like is a sleeper person. Like, I think that he could end up I did not watch that episode tonight, so I don't know if people are going to be like, did you watch tonight? But I think that he's got if you're talking about a radio personality, you're talking about someone who's got to be on principle able to talk and entertain people. So that's got to be good.
Tyler, do you mind if I steal your sign off tonight with one extra comment?
Sure.
Stay safe. Wear a mask, even if you live in Texas and your governor's an idiot.
Yes. God bless. All right. With that being said, everybody take care. Wear a mask, even if you're in Texas. Goodbye. We love you. Bye.